Number 1 is 16 x to the 23 y to the 26. So what I like to do with these questions is I like to write out all the right answers and then go back at the end and explain how they get done for anybody who may or may not need it. Number 2, x to the 19th over 4y to the 22, and the whole thing's negative. Number 3, 1 over n to the 6th, m to the 23rd, and the whole thing's negative. And number 4 is b to the 27th over 8a to the 12th, and the whole thing is negative.
Keep going.
I'm going to go back and go over all of them in a minute, and I'm recording this. Number 5 is negative 64 x to the 8th, y to the 16th. Number 6 is 16 y to the 8th over x to the 28th. I'm recording it. You can pause it later. And I'm going to go over it in a minute. But every time I have to stop and explain that again is less time I have to go over it. Does everybody understand now? Okay. (16) a to the 11th over b to the 11th. Number 8, 1 over 4m to the 11th, n to the 7th. Number 9, 1 over 512 u32 v14, and the whole thing is negative. And number 10, b to the 7th over 8a to the 17th, and the whole thing is positive. Now, I will go back to the first one.
What's 8? 8 is 1 and... Oh, I got that one.
All right.
Huzzah!
Would anybody like to see number 1?
No, because it's 2 square. But
All right. So, in number 1, you see nothing changes on the top. So, number 1 is negative x squared y to the 4th. On the bottom, nothing changes over here. Negative x to the negative 1, y to the negative 2. But this becomes 2 to the negative 4, x to the negative 20, and y to the negative 20. Then I start simplifying. Negative x to the negative 1, x to the negative 20 becomes x to the negative what? 21. So I have x squared up top, y to the 4th up top, over x to the negative 21. Negative 2 plus negative 20 is y to the negative 22. And still on the bottom I have 2 to the negative 4th. Now you will notice I got rid of these negatives out front. Why? Because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So that's why they're gone. Now, 2 minus 21 is x to the positive 23. 4 minus 22 is y to the positive 26. And then on the bottom, I still have 2 to the negative 4. Is a negative exponent allowed? No. So this guy has to move up and become 2 to the positive 4. X 23, y 26. 2 to the positive 4 is 16. X 3, y 26. And I should have done that in a different color, but I didn't. Oh, 23. Do I need to do the second one? All right. I will get, in the numerator, negative x to the 16th, y to the negative 16th, over negative 2 times 2 is negative 4, x to the 1 and x to the negative 4 is x to the negative 3, y to the 1 and y to the 5th is y to the 6th. Two negatives make positive, but we got to come back and check that in a second. This negative is inside the brackets, yes? Right? So is it part of the base here? It's negative to the 4th power, so it becomes what? Positive. So 16 minus 3 is what? 16 minus minus 3. That gives me the 19, because I'm going to split this up, and I'm going to do just my x's. Then I'm going to do just my y's. What's negative 16 minus 6? Y to the negative 22. And then I've got a negative 4 still down on the bottom, because he doesn't get to come up, because that is down there with no change in exponent on the 2, right? Now, what's not allowed there? The negative 22 has to go there, and the whole thing is negative because that makes that positive. Now I've got a positive on top and a negative on the bottom, so the whole thing has to stay negative. So I can either leave a negative there, or I can have it out in front of everything. They're the exact same. Everybody okay? All right. Do I need to do number 3?
No.
Does anybody want to see 3, or are you starting to get the hang of it? 3? Okay. So the first one is n to what power? Negative 20. And then m to the negative 25 and n to the 15 over negative n m to the negative 2. That 2 is not bracketed, so it's only with the m, right? Now, what can I put together up top? The n's. What's negative 20 plus 15? Negative 5 over negative n m to the negative 2. Now I messed with the order here. Does that matter? No, the n's go together. What is negative 5 minus 1?
Negative 6.
I've got n to the negative 6th. And what is negative 25 minus minus 2?
Negative 23.
M to the negative 23. And the whole thing has to be negative, yes?
Yeah.
What's not allowed there?
Negative.
Neither negative. So they got to go down to the denominator. The whole thing's negative. What must I write there?
1.
I have to write 1, because if I write 0, this whole thing's 0, isn't it? And that cannot be. These are the ones that mess you guys up most, when there's a bracket and an exponent. What should I do first? What's ugliest here?
Bottom.
I don't like that denominator. Can I simplify it?
Yes.
Yes, I can. Should I look at anything but the denominator? Right now, should I look at anything but the denominator? No. So I'm not touching the top, BA cubed, and I'm not touching the cubed out there. I'm only cleaning up the bottom. What's 2 times negative 2?
Negative 4.
Negative 4. Everybody cool? Okay. Now my 2's are taken care of. What's a to the 5th, a to the 3rd, and a to the negative 1? A to the 7th. 5 plus 3 minus 1. Now my a's are taken care of. Negative 4 minus 4. B to the negative 8. Everyone cool? Now the whole thing is cubed. Where does that 3 go? Everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So I get 2 cubed, which is 8. A to the what? 9. B to the what? 3. Everybody agree with the top? Over negative 4 cubed is negative 64. A to the 21. B to the negative 24. Is everybody still okay? Yes? Okay. What's 8 and 64? That's going to become 1/8, isn't it? 8 over 64, 1/8. So I got to keep a negative 8 on the bottom and a 1 on top. Do I write 1? No. 9 and 21. What's 9 and 21? What math am I doing there? Subtraction. What's 9 minus 21? A to the negative 12. And 3 minus 24. B to the 27. What's not allowed there? That negative, so it has to move. A to the 12th, B to the 27. That negative can be there or it can be in the middle. Cool? Please remember, it is just the 5 exponent laws that you already know. There is no tricks. You just have to do every step. Kind of like when you're building a Lego model. Or an IKEA bed. If you leave out a bolt and you jump on there, you could be in trouble. This one. What's ugly? Choose one thing and start with it and finish that one thing and then move on. Where do you want to start?
The numerator.
The numerator? Great. So, I have a 2. Are there any other 2s?
No.
No, so 2 stays. X and X. My 2 is taken care of. What's X times X squared?
X cubed.
X cubed. What's Y to the negative 4 times Y to the 5th? Y to the 1, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Over negative 2 to the negative 5. Negative 2 to the negative 5. X to the negative 5. Y to the negative 15. Now, tidy it up. What's ugly there? 2x cubed y. What's negative 2 to the 5th? Two times 2 times 2 times 2 times... It's 32, right?
Yeah.
But it's negative. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's 32 to the negative 1. I'm just going to remind myself that because I haven't moved it yet. Then I've got x to the negative 5 and y to the negative 15. What should I deal with now? I can split it up, can't I? Let's deal with the numbers. Where does that 32 need to go? It's got to come up. There's already a 2 up there, so 32 times 2 is 64, yes? I'll come to that. Let's deal with the x's. What is 3 minus 5? 3 minus 5. 8. And 1 minus 15. Y to the 16th. Now, what is that guy doing there? Negative 2 to the negative 5. It's negative 2 how many times? 5 times. A negative base with an odd exponent. Is that 32 or is it negative 32? It's negative 32. When I move it up, what changes? The exponent or the base?
Exponent.
Just the exponent. So that still needed a negative. I will finish recording this and I will post it tonight. But you have seen enough beginnings that you should be able to sort out the other 4.
Yeah. I've just been making small mistakes.
Okay, so to do this one, I'm going to tidy up the the denominator first. So I've got 2xy to the 5th over x to the 8th y to the 3rd. All of that is to the 4th power. 4 has to go to everything. 2 to the 4th, x to the 4th, y to the 20th, over x to the 8th, y to the 3rd. I mean, x to the 32 and y to the 12th. Now, do the math. 2 to the 4th is 16. 4 minus 32 is x to the negative 28. 20 minus 12 is y to the positive 8. What isn't allowed there? The negative. 16y to the 8th over x to the 28th. Come to this one. Tidy up the bottom, then tidy up the top, then combine. So the bottom, negative 2. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. Negative 5 plus 4 is a to the negative 1. 2 plus 4 is b to the 6th. Up top, I have negative 32, because negative 2 to the 5th is negative 32. A to the 10th, b to the negative 5. Now, sort it out. Negative 32 divided by negative 2 is 16. 10 minus minus 1 is a to the 11th. Negative 5 minus 6 is b to the negative 11. What's not allowed there? The b to the negative 11. Sorry, it all disappeared there, guys. Whatever. Come to this one. Tidy the bottom, tidy the top. Do them separately. Tidy the top first. 2 to the negative 2, m to the negative 6, n to the negative 8, over n to the negative 1, m to the 5th. 2 to the negative 2, that's not allowed. So that's going to go downstairs and become 2 to the 2. It still disappeared, so that's m to the negative 1. 8, negative 8 minus minus 1 is n to the negative 7, and 6, negative 6 minus 5 is m to the negative 11th. Well, those aren't allowed, so it's going to be 1 over 4, because 2 squared is in the denominator, n to the 7th, m to the 11th. But then we want to put it in alphabetical order, so it's m to the 11th, n to the 7th. Come down to here. We notice a couple of things about it. One, we notice the whole thing's negative, so we put a negative out in front. Then the top is in pretty good shape, so we don't do anything to it, but we got to tidy up the bottom. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4, times negative 2 is positive 4, right? Or positive 8. So I have 8 on the bottom. U squared, u to the 5th, u to the 3rd gives me u to the 10th, right? And v, 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 3 is 6, v to the 6th. All that is cubed. So then I've got u to the negative 2, v to the 4, over 8 cubed is 512, u to the 30th, v to the 18th. Now I tidy this up. Negative 2 minus 30 is u to the negative 32. 4 minus 18 is v to the negative 14. All of that over 512. What moves? The negative exponents. So negative 1 over 512 u32 v14. And lastly, this one. You've got to tidy up the top first. And you've got to notice that negative. So the negative stays at the beginning, and then we check it out. 1 times -2 times -2 gets me +4, right? And A3 plus 5 is 8 and nothing. So I got a to the 8th. -2 plus 4 is +2 plus 5 is b to the 7th over -2 to the 5th is -32, and there's a negative out in front, a to the 25th. Now, 2 negatives make a positive. 4 over 32 is 8. 8 minus 25 is a to the -17. b to the 7th, nothing changes. The a to the 17 isn't allowed, so I get b to the 7th over 8, a to the 17th. 2 negatives making a positive. Remember, you can pause this anywhere you need to have a look.